101 Part-Time Jobs just reached over 400 episodes, and we just won 2 Independent Podcast Awards, one for Best Music Podcast and the other for Best Jingle, which we're very pleased with. We're an independent music podcast, and we've been able to do so by advertising, working with brands and companies who we like and we believe in. We want to keep this show free and accessible to everyone. So for the next few minutes, you're going to be hearing some sponsored messages, and then we'll be on with the episode. Thanks for your support. If you're looking to buy your next instrument, piece of music tech, or accessory, look no further than Dawson's. Now with a brick and mortar store on the iconic Denmark Street here in London and online at dawsons.co.uk, Dawson's carries heritage guitars, harmony, mono, and other major music brands like Fender, Martin guitars, Marshall, Orange amps, and more. You'll hear on this show how guitars have songs in them. And it's true. I've been playing this harmony silhouette with Bigsby that you can hear beneath this. And I've now got to start a new band because the songs are flowing. So if you're looking to pick up something special, head to Dawson's on Denmark Street or online. And with the voucher code 101 Part-Time Jobs, you can claim 5% off the Dawson's online music store when you spend £100 or more. That's voucher code 101 Part-Time Jobs over at dawsons.co.uk. Happy playing! Hey, do you play in bands? I did for the longest time, and I wish that I knew that DistroKid was a thing. I don't even think it existed back then. DistroKid makes music distribution fun and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of your royalties and earnings. 1 million plus artists rely on DistroKid to get their music on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all the major streaming services. When you get DistroKid, you can see a DistroKid bank and withdraw your earnings. You get notified when you've earned royalties, and you can withdraw via the app. And you can even check your streaming stats on Spotify and Apple. Get 30% off your first year on DistroKid by going to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. 30% off for your first year. That's not bad. We know it's a tough world out there. Why don't you make it easier for yourself? And to get 30% off that free year as an artist, where you get 100% of your royalties and earnings, go to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. All right, stay with me. I'll be right back after this.
This episode is brought to you by Iams Pet Food. When you choose Iams dry dog or cat food, you can see a difference in your pet with your own eyes. Healthy energy in 5 days, healthy digestion in 10 days, and healthy skin and coat in just 25 days. Satisfaction for you and them. Guaranteed or your money back. Feed Iams dry dog or cat food and see a visible difference. Visit iams.com/difference to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Black Friday week starting November 21st.
Ho there! You're listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs with me, Giles Bidder. It's the podcast where we hear stories from musicians and now comedians and actors about all the different work they've done, including the side hustles along their way. On today's episode, we hear from musician, comedian, actor Cat Cohen. Her debut album is coming out on the 15th of November. It's called Overdressed, and it brings together pop and comedy. You might have seen Catherine in a recent episode of Only Murders in the Building, where she played a guest role. And her new special, which is out on Veeps, is called Come For Me. You might know Catherine from her Netflix special, The Twist, ... She's gorgeous. She's done a lot. Some might say she's doing 101 part-time jobs. That's why she's here. She's one of the first comedians that we've had on this show since we started in 2020. So I hope you enjoy it. If you do, make sure you click subscribe. We put out 2 episodes every week, and we'd love to have you along for it. After the jump, it's my chat with Cat Cohen here on 101 Part-Time Jobs. 101 Part-Time Jobs. I was just thinking this morning, do you know what, like, one of the worst things is? Like, one of the worst things is trying to put on a sock when your foot's wet.
Forget it.
And then stepping onto the wet ground in the fresh sock.
That's the worst, is when you put the socks on and then you forget something in the bathroom and you go in there and there's just a droplet and it's over for your day.
It's everywhere.
I'm enraged thinking about this.
You're like a size 1. You're a size 2.5.
Oh my God. I'm furious.
Hey, I watched the special, the new one.
That is so nice of you to watch. What do you think?
Loved it.
Don't lie to me.
And it made me think, like,
I know, isn't it so good?
have I known people who are funny like you at school and I just didn't remember it, or I like ignored it? You know, I feel like you have this personality that's like, it's I don't want to avoid unique, but do you know what I mean? It's special. It's funny. You push through the barrier.
That's so nice. I'm gonna take unique personality with me for the rest of my day. I'm a girl with a unique personality. You know what I think? Maybe people you went to school with, I think often like funny people. I think I was probably just extremely annoying until I learned to harness the humor.
Well, I think maybe that's what I'm getting at, is that when there's a screen and you have the choice to turn it off, it actually becomes funnier than what it might be in day-to-day real life. Because I think like you can be around some really funny people, but without the right context, it doesn't land.
Yeah, or I think a lot of funny people are people who like felt maybe ignored or looked over, so they're trying to get your attention by being funny, and then that can come off as super annoying if it's not in the right context.
It's like
so you have to learn.
A lot like musicians.
You think?
Yeah.
They're annoying too.
Like I don't want to believe in, no, but I think there's something to do with like anyone who's picking up a guitar and writing a song. At some point they felt a level of rejection. 100%.
All poets, all writers, all artists, really, I think.
Is it like a need to belong? I think we're getting quite deep here immediately, but hey,
I'm sorry. I am, for those listening at home, I am crying. I'm crying real tears out of both eyes. I think everyone in school feels a little bit like left out, and some of us turn to art, and some of us, I don't know, turn to other vices, I guess.
And funny that we revert to like school. I mean, I haven't been to school for 15 years now, but it's still such a big part of your life.
I know, and also don't you feel like when the weather changes like this and it's September, I guess what month is it? October. It's like back to school vibes. I still have that sense of like anything's possible this month. You know?
Yeah, and you start getting things in your diary. You're like, what are we going to dress up as for Halloween?
Oh my God. Do you like Halloween?
Nah. But I dressed up as the Fatberg last time.
What's that?
It's the coagulation of all the gross stuff that gets put down the drain that can't really go through the drain, so it builds up. There's a big
that's
problem.
horrible.
There's a big problem in the UK about it, yeah.
I've never heard about that.
Yeah, give it a quick Google.
Really? Should I?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite like scientific.
How do you spell it? What did you just say?
Fatberg.
BER.
And we'll get a real-time response, real-time reaction.
Oh my God. Okay.
No, not that.
You dressed up. What did you wear?
I just wore like a net on my head with loads of like a condom in it.
Oh my God. Should I know what this is? Is this embarrassing that I don't know what this is?
No, I think it's a UK thing because like our infrastructure here isn't like it's in the States. Like we have buildings that were built in the 1600s.
I know, like, no tampons in those toilets. Let me tell you.
Hell no. No. But what were you
this
like
looks
in
really
school?
horrible.
What When you were like that kind
You know
of...
what I always think? I always think I was never top tier, but I had friends. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was not popular, but I had enough friends because I was funny. I brought the fun, I like to think. And I was an incredibly intense student and like really hard on myself.
Okay, what? Your parents were going hard on you to get good grades?
It was all self-inflicted. I was just, you know what it was? It was like, I was very much like, okay, well, if boys don't want to kiss me or people don't like me, then at least I'll get good grades and get the hell out of here. Get out of town.
Yeah.
What about you?
I was so busy wanting to be in a band.
Really?
I did not pay attention. I was just on MySpace emailing.
When did the bug bite? When did the bug bite you?
Early, 13, 14. I saw a band play in the Village Hall playing Blink-182 covers, and I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
It still is the coolest thing in the world. Like, there's nothing cooler than being in a band.
There isn't. And like
It's
talking
sick.
about music and like being a fan.
It's everything.
And like the lore.
It's everything.
Yeah.
So you heard a Blink-182 cover, and then were you like, you went to guitar first, or where'd you go first?
I don't know. What did I do? I think there was a band forming in my school, like
Nice.
literally overheard during lunch. And they were like, damn, we need a bass player. And I was like,
People are always needing a bass player. I think that's a good one.
and do you know what? And I went home, and I've really got to, shout out my mum for being like, yes, I'll buy you a bass guitar so you
So
can
sweet.
have friends. But it's that proactiveness, not giving up, and just kind of making it part of your everyday. Even at the start, no one's making money for a few years, which is a big fucking ass thing.
A few is generous. I feel like it takes like so long.
When was the first time you got paid? More than like $50?
Well, the first big thing was that I booked a voiceover job because I started doing like commercial voiceovers, and I booked a Sears Christmas ad, and I was like, this is going to be like $10,000. And that was, still is like so much money. But at the time I was like, I've never seen more than like 3 digits on a check. So this is massive. And so I had all these part-time jobs. And then when I started doing more and more voiceover, I was able to quit some, but that isn't even that still wasn't the end goal. So I was making money from that. But I mean, getting paid to do comedy, like that's still, it happens, but I don't survive off just doing, I could never live in New York off the money I just make on stand-up. You have to do a million other things.
Yeah. And where did you learn about that? I read that book by Judd Apatow.
Oh yeah, I haven't read that one.
And that was good, and it's like, oh fuck, it's this kind of shit, when you're hearing from comedians about, not just the journey, but like the actual like the story, and the personalities and the characters and the like piecing it together. And Judd Apatow's big thing is that he was just always worried about money. He came from that background where he was always worried about money, always worried. So he would always just do a million things. And I don't know, it must be pretty terrifying. Yeah,
I think you have to be sort of delusional to assume it's going to work out. And I'm still running on that. I'm like, I always tell people, it's like, it's the same thing with everything in life, but it's like you could worry about where's the money going to come from, or you could be excited for how much money is about to come your way. I'm like, can you imagine how much? The one good thing, it's like, sure, I don't know what the next year is going to look like financially, but that also means that it could be like an insane amount of money, especially working in TV and film. It's like, you might get like $500 for one thing, but then for no reason you get like $50,000 for another thing. Like you never know. There seems to be. It seems to go from 0 to a lot of money very fast if you get the right gig. So that's what I'm gunning for.
If you're being worried, maybe you're spiritually got your arms folded.
Thank you. Exactly. I've been saying that.
Do you know, I've thought about it a few times.
Do you? What do you think about this? Worrying is praying for what you don't want to happen.
Fuck.
What do you think about that?
I have to invoice you now.
No, I don't know if that works on me, but it's somewhere. I'm trying to get to that place. But.
Yeah, there's something in it, right? If I've read sort of the bylines or the strap lines of a couple of books about luck, right? And about how, this kind of cuts the point in maybe a bit of an unfair way, but in a sentence, it's like you make your own luck by going out, going into the room, introducing yourself, being polite, giving out your card or your email, or like asking, hey, can I open up that show that you're putting on.
It's so true. Even like literally tonight, there's an event that I don't want to go to, and I'm like, I feel like I should go. And I feel like there's so many. I used to always say, like, if you're in the Uber and you like don't want to get out because you're like filled with dread, it probably means you should be there because there's something that could happen. Like my best friend and I, who's also a stand-up, we always joke like I would pay $10 million to not do this gig right now, and then you do it and you're like, that was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Do you know what is that?
And how are you when you get to those rooms? Like when you get there tonight, you reckon you'll just something inside you will switch and you'll be like, hey, what's up? How's it going?
I think I'm pretty good at it on the outside. Like I can be good at schmoozing, but I have a lot. Especially since the pandemic, have more and more social anxiety, and especially around like work. You know, especially because sometimes I worry. I feel like because so many of my friends were met doing like comedy and music and whatever, sometimes I get anxious all of a sudden. I'm like, wait, is this like work or hang, or is this fun, or like can I actually relax? Do you know what I mean?
Yep. I sometimes think that if I bump into, because going to gigs, right, and I'll go to my friends who are friends and work friends, we're into the same kind of music, so we'll go to a gig and there'll be someone from a label or a PR or
and then it's not fun. Then it's like, oh.
But the thing is, I think I've sort of found the trick of
the schmoozing
thing. Well, actually, to enjoy it and just to hang out with people you get along with anyway.
Okay.
Easier for some than others. I guess for me, in music, and I mean, like interviewing you, I'm interviewing you because I wanted to, you know.
Thank you.
I speak to the people that I want to, and then obviously there's a lot of stuff you don't necessarily want to do, and because I'm a journalist, I get to pick it because it's this is my business. I run the business. Yeah. It's like I don't have to do anything I don't want to, which is different to you, right?
Well, I was actually thinking about this morning. I met someone who was like, who was it? I can't remember who it was. They were like, I don't do anything I don't want to do. And I was like, I can't relate to anything less. I feel like I'm constantly doing things that I'm like not really wanting to do, but hoping that I'm like playing the long game to get to this place I want to get to. But then today
what is that?
Well, that's the issue, because I don't think that is a real place, because I think whatever you get, you want the next thing, don't you? Like, I'm already so proud of what I've achieved, but all I do is like think about how to get how to level up.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think that I imagine it's like doing these Netflix specials must feel like putting out an album.
Yeah,
it's like you've got the campaign, then the thing's out, and like you're like, okay, do I need to make another video to tell people about this, or or to do the?
Oh my God, exactly. It's like you make the work, you're so proud of it, and then you feel this added pressure to be like, okay, wait, like how do I make sure everyone sees this, which you can't really control.
Yeah. We're doing it's our 400th episode on Thursday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I was just now before this chat, I'm like making dumb videos of me trying to throw a tea bag in a mug, which is by no ways an original idea, but it's just like just another stupid thing that I could have fun with at least, and be like, hey, 400 episodes. And,
yes.
And that's not even good. Like what I'm doing there isn't good, but it's just something. It's just fucking something. Which
you gotta always be, no, that's beautiful.
Well, I guess people who are good at doing this are people who can consistently have those little golden nuggets of ideas.
I know.
Are you one of them?
You have to be an open vessel waiting for inspo to strike.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure Lennon said that. It's like a Beatles thing. I was just sitting there and I had my antenna up, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, but instead of my antenna, it's my notes app. And I'm like, I try and be good about if I have even like a nugget of or even like a word or a phrase, I'm like, just write it down because you're not going to remember it. So I try and be good about that. But sometimes you're just tired, or I'll have amazing ideas from like 3 to 4 a.m. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually a genius. I'm changing the world. And then I'll wake up and I'm like, what was I talking about? I think it's often when you've like had a few drinks and you like pass out and then you wake up with that like almost like your hangovers in the middle of the night or something, and then you know what I'm saying?
I feel like doing this kind of thing and like brain work, right? The brain work of the notes, of the promoting, of the doing the thing. I feel like you just like, in order to get to a place where you feel comfortable doing that every day, I wonder if you just need some absolutely zilch time doing anything. You're supposed to be doing.
Amen.
Those days of nothing.
Amen. You have to have that. And that's why I haven't been writing anything, because I've been busy and I always say, like, if to write, it's like for every one sentence you need to write, you need like 12 times that amount of time. Like if I want to write for an hour, I actually need 8 hours, because that's it's going to be 7 hours of laying around, stretching, like looking up shit online. Like if I have to write something, I really need like a whole day of nothing to even begin. But I don't know.
And how are you writing? Is it on the are you writing like prose or are you writing like notes?
I'm always like typing and then like making voice notes and stuff.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of a combo. But yeah, I do.
Catherine's version.
Love that. I do type as opposed to write by hand, which is not romantic or interesting, but I feel like my brain goes too fast to write by hand. I'm like, better for worse.
Yeah, and you might lose it.
Yeah, I can't lose. Everything's gold.
Who are the music people you look towards? Is it like folk stuff?
Well, I feel like the music I feel this way with so many things. Like the music I listen to isn't really like the music I've been making. Like I listen to mostly like indie rock and stuff. I feel like my formative music moment was I watched the OC. Did you watch the OC growing up? And those soundtracks are so good. It showed me like so many great bands. Like Interpol was on there. Like Sufjan Stevens was on there. I was like, this is opened my brain. And so then you go to the internet and then you learn about all these amazing indie bands. So that's always what I've listened to. Yeah. But
before long, you're like, Ben Gibbard.
Yes,
I love you.
Exactly.
Like Postal Service. Yeah.
100%. That stuff is so, like those albums are so good.
I feel like that soundtrack like changed my life.
Totally. Me too.
Go out there. Because without that, I wouldn't have listened to Jeff Buckley. And when I heard Grace, I was like, how has my heart simultaneously come together but also been broken?
Exactly. I don't
think I've been the same since before then.
I know. I feel so grateful for those albums. Oh my God, yeah, like the Walkman, like all these amazing bands would play on the show too.
Yeah,
so cool.
Yeah, in that bar. Indie rock's going through a pretty good time now, isn't it?
I know. I'm so excited because I'm going to see Fontaine's DC next week in New York, and I'm obsessed with them. It's like it's giving me that feeling of like being that age again and falling in love with music, which I haven't had in a while. I
saw them. I went along to an early show of theirs with a friend, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be fine." And then 2 songs in, I'm like, "Oh my!" And the singer,
what the fuck?
Grian was doing this thing like it was like he had like an amber of a cigarette that was being put out in his.
What?
Because he was kind of doing this kind of like snapping feeling, and it's like I'm like, "Fuck!" I'm like, "This is it!" Like that guy's got it.
He's in tune with the universe.
Yeah, but it's unbelievable. I mean, it's amazing that bands like that can happen now. Because for a minute, it was like, it's all over.
There's nothing. I know.
You know.
What are other bands like that you're listening to now? Like, what should I be listening to?
Oh, damn. There's a great band called Hello Mary that I've just discovered.
I'm writing this down.
They're from the States.
Okay, cool.
Let me see. I don't know, like MJ Lenderman, you might have read about him.
He's great. You want to know something so random?
Please go.
My mom's friends with his mom.
That's sick.
Because for years my mom's been like, MJ Lenderman. Do you remember? He's and then all of a sudden he's blowing up. I'm like, your mom is friends with my mom.
Yeah.
I love his stuff. He's so good. It's like that pavement-y vibe, sort of.
Yeah, I always want to say like it sounds like Neil Young, but to be honest, I don't know enough Neil Young. Neil Young's a blind spot of mine.
I don't really know much either, except for Heart of Gold.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just going through the list of people that I've interviewed recently, but Bean Stellar, they're from New York, they're good.
Being Stellar?
Bean Stellar, Been.
Ah.
Also, Horse Jumper of Love are real good.
Okay, amazing.
New York must be like London, like there's gigs every night of the week. You can't go to everything. And then you discover something, you're like, it's been around? And no, who told me? Someone's supposed to tell me.
No, I don't go to a lot of shows in New York because I feel like either I'll have a show or I'll be in and wanting to sleep. Or if I do go to a gig, I'm always confused. They always go on so much later than you ever thought possible.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I'm so early, like a loser. And I'm like, how many vodka sodas can I have before I want to go to bed?
I don't like that feeling of getting a drink just to stay out longer.
Horrible. Yeah. But no, but I'm excited for this gig next week. I think it's going to be massivo major, super fun.
So you're from North Carolina?
No, I'm from Texas.
Right. I thought. But then your parents are your mum's friends with.
Oh, why is she friends with her? Like literally, they either went to high school or college together.
Okay.
It's so random. But yeah, I would love to see him play. I think all his shows sold out really fast. But when it comes to what the music I've been writing, I feel like it's much poppier. It's much more like musical theater vibes because that's also, I was like a theater kid. And then now pop's having this amazing moment and I'm loving all my pop girls. Yeah. And for this album, I really wanted it to be poppy and fun with like great jokes, but like fun dance music with jokes.
Yeah. Hey, the best music has jokes. It's got a wink in it.
I agree.
It's got the wry smile, the knowing line in the second verse.
Oh, Sabrina Carpenter is giving us jokes. I love so many like Magnetic Field songs. Father John Misty, like those are people I always look to of like having that humor in the songs that I love.
Have you ever done a set where you've played with a group, with a band? Like supported the band, I mean. It'd
be really fun to like tour with the right band if we had like enough of an overlap or the right like situation.
Well, Tim Heidecker's doing something where he's doing like a half set comedy, half set music.
I love that.
Cool.
I just love when people I admire do many things well and they don't like limit themselves to doing one thing. I think that's so cool.
That's the world we live in now. You're diversifying, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like now's a good time to do it. I haven't lived any other time, but now seems like a good time.
Why not? I mean, we're all like, everyone's kind of like a one person business, marketing, blah. You have to do everything for better, for worse. I feel like obviously the pros are like, wow, I can control my destiny in some ways, and then the cons are like, you put out this great album, and you're like, I need some. I can't make people listen to it. I need the support and the money of some big corporation to help. I
feel like there's a lot of those parts of like, I don't know, things you have to take seriously, which like directly rub up against.
Exactly. Like 100,000,000%. I'm like, I'm so tired. Even like last week I released this single. And so I had like this intense posting schedule. And I was like, this is taking years off my life to put myself out there like this in these. But now I have to, but I'm a little bit numb to it now. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna throw up a video every day. Yeah. Hope people hear the song and then like move on.
And it's like, what's the realistic solution? You're gonna pay an assistant to do that?
Well, I literally do that, but I can't relinquish control. So I'm still like,
okay.
Even if I ask her to post something, it's because I'm like, okay, it should be this and it should say this and it should be at this time. And like, can you do that? Because I'm going to be doing, you know what I mean? But
you're the puppet master.
I'm the puppet master of my life, of my phone.
101, part-time jobs, 101, 101, 101, part-time jobs. Speaking of jobs, have there been stuff that you've done where you're like, okay, I'm going to take what I've learned from here.
Oh, that's cool.
Bring it into my project's life.
God, I mean, my part-time jobs were, I worked at a restaurant. Did I learn anything there? Only that I don't want to work at a restaurant. The main thing I did was I worked as a tutor for a very long time as an SAT tutor.
Okay.
And I hated it so much. I'm trying to remember. Like, I would have to drive to New Jersey and like Connecticut to tutor these kids who live in the suburbs.
Okay.
And
so you're living in New York at this point?
I was living in New York, but yeah, and it was always on the weekends too, because when they didn't have school. So like Saturdays and Sundays, I'd be like driving to the suburbs to like teach kids math. They don't want to see you. You don't want to see them. It's like the worst vibe. But the only thing I learned from that was like getting to drive and listen to music and stuff and having those, I do feel like driving activates that creative part of your brain where you can kind of half zone out and half not.
Which is really fucking dangerous, but sure.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. And I get scared of myself doing it. Like, I don't think you're able to drive. It's like that weird thing where you drive somewhere and you park up and you think, what was the route that I took? And you can't remember it properly.
My God. Yes.
Terrifying.
That's so scary. I kind of do that when I'm walking home too. I'm like, wait, did I go? I'm like, okay, I guess I walked all the way home.
I tell you what really fucks me up is working in Soho is I keep on thinking, oh, if I walk down that road, then I'm going to see someone and bump into them and maybe get a job.
Really?
And if I do that road, and I start thinking like that, it's because I heard a story about Paddy Considine. That's how
What
he got the role.
happened?
Well, he was bumped into an old friend and they were casting for Game of Thrones.
Wow.
And it's like, so that kind of lives in my head. And I think, because we're
Ooh, I
surrounded
got
by all these.
chills. I heard a similar story about someone bumping into someone at a coffee shop, and it was like this big producer, and he's like, but those, you can't control those moments except for leaving your house. That's the only way. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had like a chance run in that changed everything?
Oh, like everything. Like every chance I've
What?
had has been in person.
Tell me.
Well, I'd go into a gig, meeting the promoter.
Yeah.
Like when I moved into here, I'd just been fired from I'd been consecutively fired from a couple of jobs. I was on government support, and my housemate took me out, and he was like, "Oh, let's go see our friend's band was doing a session at a radio station." I went to this radio station. My housemate had a friend who didn't know he worked there. He didn't know that they worked there. And then I jumped in and I was like, "Hey, you got any jobs?" And he was like, "We do actually." And so that got me working in radio.
Good for you, and you asking for what you want as well. It's hard to do that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think even if you ask unconvincingly, do you know what I mean? As long as you're polite and forthright, I don't think you have to be like super funny or good about the ask. You just have to ask, get the questions out your mouth.
Yeah, if anything, someone trying to be funny, I'd be like, "Wait, are you joking?"
Okay. Yeah. So someone just being plain and polite.
I just like everyone to be so polite and nice because that's so underrated these days.
Agreed. P's and T's. It's everything.
Yes, but I think especially like if people know I'm a comedian, they'll like come up to me and try and like fuck with me or like say something almost kind of rude to like get my attention, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You're hurting my feelings."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, "I'm a sensitive girl."
Yeah. I mean, how do you get past that? I guess maybe that's why some people can put up walls.
I just laugh and like walk away. I'm like, "Oh, ha, it's so good. That's so good."
You're doing this
know.
stuff full time now.
Yes, I guess so. Well, I'm trying, I quit. I was trying to remember actually before this. So I did the tutoring for a long time. I worked like part-time at this theater, which was good because I got like free improv classes, which was, really good just when I was starting out. So that I gained a lot of like friendships, and that was
Just being
cool.
around it.
Yeah, just being around it and seeing, just hearing things about the business because it's such a weird business and you don't really know until you're doing it how to do anything. Because I didn't have any like, I still am looking for, I would love to have like an older mentor who could guide me through some of this stuff. I had an amazing mentor who was actually my voiceover coach, and she passed away a few years ago, and I feel like that I really miss her, but I also really miss like that kind of relationship. Mm-hmm. Do you have a good mentor?
I've got one. He runs a beer company in London called
Amazing.
Signature Brew. I don't think he knows that I tell people he's my mentor.
It's a funny thing. You're like, all right, do you accept this position?
Yeah, he's like 10 years older than me. We've known each other for 15 years. We've gone on loads of drinking trips. Like we sailed a yacht the other day.
No
Croatia.
way.
We did that.
What?
We went
The other day? You're coming at me fresh off a yacht?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I get so sunburnt as well. I get burned and then tanned.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
But I text him, and like I say, I run this production company. There's 3 of us, and like I text him. I'm like, "Is this a good idea? Is that a bad idea?"
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just in your head going around in circles. I think another good thing as well is to read like books about it, whether that's business or whatever it is, and just actively of set maybe keyword searches for Google, just so you like learn stuff, just so you get out of that world of being like, I know everything, this is the way it works. And then you quickly realize that, or slowly realize, even worse, that it doesn't work the way you think it does.
Yeah, I feel sometimes if I read books about like Hollywood in the past, I get frustrated because I just feel like we're at such a trying time in the industry, and I get jealous that there seemed to be more money or like things seem to be like flourishing more in the past, and now it's like, oh my God, it's so fucking dire. And I get like but I'm sure there's still lessons to be learned, and maybe that it will swing back in the other direction soon as well.
Yeah, I hope so. Maybe universal basic income.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
That's that theatre. You were around it. You got At least that's somewhere you can get paid, even if it's not what you wanted to be doing. It's like a step.
Oh, it was
towards
great.
It.
Yeah, it was great, and I did that, and then I'm trying to think what else I did. But yeah, those were my main. I worked at this. I worked at this mattress company, Casper. You know Casper mattresses?
No.
They needed people to, it ended up being me and all my friends. Sure. They needed people to work in their showroom, but the showroom was just an apartment with a big bed in it. And so me and my friend worked there, and we would just sit there. No one would come in. There was like
windows?
A fridge.
What is this place?
Yeah. It was like, they thought instead of having a store, they were like, we have a showroom, which was just like this cool loft in Soho. Mm-hmm. And we would just sit there and like work on our own things. And like once a day, someone would come in to try the mattress, and we'd be like, okay, you can try it. That was an amazing job, actually. It paid so little, but it was so fun. Like me and one of my best friends, and we would just like be on our laptops, like writing sketches and jokes. And she and I were hosting a show together, and we'd make videos. And
she was doing a similar thing. She was writing.
Yeah, and now she's a very successful TV writer, actor, comedian.
Yeah, I mean, it comes, talking to bands a lot about this. It's like comes down to time. So much of it, people don't. It seems like our generation, we don't really have the luxury of spending 10 years completely out of the focus, just learning how to do it and learning what you like about yourself and what you don't.
Yeah.
And now you have to like hit the ground running, or appear to hit the ground running.
I know. I feel like I'm still learning, or even like, especially with jokes, like there's things that are even in the first special that I'm like, that's such a stupid joke. I would never say that now. It's also cool, even though, because I've had this podcast for like 6 years now with my best friend. And like, there are things I said on that I sound like the biggest idiot in the world, but I think it's so funny and ultimately cool that we have this, like time capsule of our friendship over the years and all our wants and fears and, things we said we wanted when we first started, we now have. And like, it's crazy to put yourself out there like that. Yeah,
and say things that you don't even know if you mean.
All constant. I say things I don't know. Every day. I'm like, I actually don't believe that anymore. I'm like, I think I have a joke in the new special. I'm like, you can change my mind about anything.
Yeah.
If you just sound convinced about it for 45 seconds, I'm like, okay, whatever you want.
Well, that makes someone. I think this is in that song, right? That makes someone a reasonable person. I think being a reasonable person is being open to like someone actually being convincing enough for you to change your mind.
100%, or just being like, oh yeah, I definitely don't know best about that. Working on this new album, I feel like I've been writing songs for so long, but I've never done like an album. And so for this whole experience, I've been very much like, I trust the producer I worked with, this amazing guy, Kuros. I was like, I totally trust your vision for what this should be like. And
is he the guy in the band? Is he the band leader?
No. So the special is that's David Dabin on the piano, and he and I wrote most of those songs together. And then this summer I worked on an album of like pop versions of a lot of those songs and some new ones with this producer in London, this guy Kuros, who does, who's like a total genius, but.
And you were doing it over Zoom, over remote?
No, I was over there. So we did like I think we did the whole album in like 9 days, just like ripped it.
Which studio?
Just in his apartment. He has like a nice studio set up.
Whereabouts? What were you doing?
And we were in Shoreditch, and then I got to record one of the songs at this amazing studio where apparently Adele records.
Yeah, the church?
What was it? It was
it's like a church in North London, not far away from Shoreditch.
I don't remember.
Rack Studios?
Yes, Rack. Very cool. So I guess he had a friend who worked there, and early one morning we like snuck in and recorded one of the songs because we wanted the grand piano.
Yeah, awesome. Did you get to experience London and hang around?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in London. I love going over there and doing shows, and I feel like the whole comedy scene is I always say I feel like they just appreciate live performance more than they do over here.
Okay.
Not necessarily in New York they do too, but I feel like people, especially in LA, it's like stand up something you do with the end game of like getting on TV, and I feel like in London and New York as well, it's like I'm doing this show because it's a show and I want people to come to the show.
Yeah.
I was just at the Edinburgh Festival, and it's just so amazing to watch like people from all over the world just being so good at what they do. It's so magical.
What's your experience there? Everyone knows how expensive it is and how much how thin you're stretched?
Yeah, I've had a really good experience. I've been a few times and I've always really enjoyed it. But yeah, I mean, I kind of went into it the first time being like, okay, I'm gonna hopefully break even, maybe lose money, but will come out with like these superpowers of being just such a tight, amazing performer. And I definitely.
That was a few years ago, right? No?
Yeah, that was like 2019 was my first one. Mm-hmm. When I was young.
You kept going back.
I couldn't stop. I can't stop. I'm like, I need to write a new show so I can go again. I just love being in Scotland for the whole month. It's like bliss.
Yeah, Scotland's good. You can eat some weird meats up there.
I eat some weird meats. I have lots of whiskey. I walk around the Arthur's Seat, go through the woods and fantasize about whatever.
Just like having a giant sword.
Exactly.
Like, where would you put it? Would you hold it like that? Or would you put it like that?
Well, that's the question that I keep coming back to.
Hey, Catherine, thanks so much for the time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was such a delight to chat with you.
Talking about this stuff. I mean, like, hey, I've got a good few fuck ups from work. I was looking after some kids, taking them around, taking them around school, taking them around London. Sorry. They were like Spanish kids that were on a exchange, and I ended up losing a few of them on the tube. But I found them a few hours later. Like, it was all cool. Just missed a couple of classes that their parents had spent money on. But I think those kind of big work fuck ups that you just can't wait to get to the end of the day from. Have you got something that stands out? Something that you've got in your past?
I was like, where's this? I was like, where's this story going?
Sorry, I was like,
I'm so sorry that happened.
I've got to tell somebody. I'll just please tell you.
Oh my God, let me think. I mean,
the worst day at work. Like, what was the worst day at work that you had?
Oh gosh. I mean, I just remember one of the times I was driving out to tutor these kids, and it was like I was borrowing my boss's car for some reason because I couldn't get this rental car, and I got into like a fender bender in the middle of the road, and I was like freaking out and just, instantly, when a stranger yells at me too, I'm instantly crying. Like, and then you have to go do the job after. It wasn't even, it was on the way there, not the way home. So I had to tell them, oh God, even now I'm like,
Yeah. So those things can kind of keep you awake at night.
Oh God, there's so many interactions in the past that I'm like, I need to bury that deep and never bring it up again and just accept it and move on.
Brilliant. Hey, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it.
You rock, you roll. Thank you for having me. And thank you for watching the special. It's so nice. I really appreciate it.
So there was Catherine Cohen here on 101 Part-Time Jobs. Her new special, Come For Me, is out now on Veeps, and her debut album, Overdressed, which brings together comedy and pop, is out on the 15th of November. Cheers for listening, and if you enjoyed this, make sure you click subscribe so you get notified for all the brilliant upcoming guests we've got. Later on this week, we're hearing from Hot Wax, who have just been supporting the Libertines, and Fantastic Negrito, the Grammy Award Tiny Desk winning musician. See you then.
101 Part-Time Jobs is hosted by Giles Bidder and produced by me, Olivia Swash. This has been a Mighty Moon Media production.